Stop looking at your Social Security check and getting angry. I know exactly what you saw this month. You saw the cost of living adjustment arrive, and you saw a massive chunk of it disappear instantly. You looked at the deductions column, and there it was, $202.90. That is the new 2026 price tag for Medicare Part B. Every single month, the government takes that money out of your pocket before you even get a chance to spend it. Over the course of a year, that adds up to $2,434.80. Imagine if I told you that there is a perfectly legal, government-approved paperwork hack that could force the Social Security Administration to stop that deduction immediately. Imagine if, next month, you opened your bank app and your deposit was suddenly $200 higher, not because of a COLA raise, but because the state government stepped in and paid your bill for you. This isn't a scam. It isn't a loan. It is a federal right called the Medicare Savings Program. And according to the National Council on Aging, over 3 million seniors qualify for this program right now but haven't applied because they think they make too much money. Well, I have breaking news for 2026. The income limits to qualify for this program just went up. If you are single and you make less than $1,780 a month, or if you are married and make less than $2,400 a month, you could be throwing away $2,400 a year. And if you live in states like New York, Connecticut, or Alabama, the rules are even better. In this deep dive masterclass, I am going to walk you through the 3 secret tiers of the Medicare Savings Program. I am going to show you how to bypass the asset limit that usually disqualifies people with savings. And I am going to give you the direct phone number to call to get this application started today. You already earned your Social Security. It is time you kept all of it. Let's get that $202 back. Before we get into the solution, we need to understand the problem, because the $200 deduction is actually hurting you more than you realize. When the SSA announced the 2.8% COLA for 2026, it sounded like a win. But inflation acts like a tax. Let's say your benefit is $1,900. Your raise was roughly $53. But the Medicare Part B premium rose from $185 last year to $202.90 this year. That is nearly an $18 hike. So nearly 35% of your raise vanished instantly. For many of you watching this, that $200 represents your grocery budget for 2 weeks. It represents your electric bill and your water bill combined. The government assumes you can afford to pay it. They assume that if you are over 65, you have a nest egg. But the reality is, millions of seniors are living check to check. This is where the Medicare Savings Program comes in. This is not Medicaid in the traditional sense. You do not have to be destitute to qualify. You do not have to lose your house. This is a specific bridge program designed for people who are just above the poverty line, the forgotten middle. If you qualify, 3 things happen. First, the deduction stops. The SSA stops taking that money from your check. Second, the refund arrives. If you are approved in March but you were eligible in January, the state will often write you a retroactive check for the months you overpaid. That could be a lump sum of $400 or $600 arriving in your mailbox. Third, the extra help kicks in. Once you get into the MSP, you are automatically enrolled in the low-income subsidy for prescriptions. This slashes your drug costs to pennies. So, how do you get in? You need to know which of the 3 doors to knock on. The first level of the program is called QMB, the Qualified Medicare Beneficiary Program. I call this the gold ticket because it pays for everything. If you get approved for QMB, the state pays your Part B premium, but they also pay your Part A premium if you owe one. And this is the big one. They pay your deductibles and co-insurance. You know that 20% co-pay you usually have to pay when you visit the doctor? Or that massive $1,600 deductible if you go to the hospital? If you have QMB, you pay 0. By federal law, Medicare providers cannot bill you for services if you are in the QMB program. The 2026 income limits for QMB are strictly defined. For an individual, the limit is roughly $1,325 per month. For a married couple, it is roughly $1,783 per month. The asset limit stands at $9,950 for singles and $14,910 for married couples. Now wait, I know you are looking at that number and thinking, I make $1,400, I don't qualify. Do not stop listening. Because QMB is the hardest level to get. The next two levels are much easier, and they still give you the $200 back. The second level is the most common program for my viewers. It stands for Specified Low-Income Medicare Beneficiary, or SLMB. I call this the silver ticket. SLMB does not pay your copays at the doctor. You still need a Medigap plan or an Advantage plan for that. But SLMB does pay the $202 Part B premium. It essentially acts as a $2,400 a year raise. The income limits for SLMB are significantly higher than QMB. For an individual, the limit is roughly $1,585 per month. For a married couple, it is roughly $2,135 per month. The asset limit remains the same as QMB. If your Social Security check is $1,500, you are likely ineligible for the gold ticket, but you are a perfect candidate for the silver ticket. Getting approved for this means your net deposit goes from $1,500 to $1,700 next month. This is money that you have already earned, money that belongs to you, but unless you file the SLMB paperwork, the Treasury Department keeps it. Now let's talk about the program for people who think they are middle class but are struggling. This is the Qualifying Individual Program, or QI. I call this the bronze ticket. This program is unique because it is first come, first served. The federal government gives states a block grant for this. Once the money runs out, they stop accepting applications for the year. That is why you must apply now, in January or February, before the funds are exhausted. The QI program pays your $202 Part B premium. It puts that money back in your check. The 2026 income limits for QI are the most generous of all. For an individual, the limit is roughly $1,781 per month. For a married couple, the limit is roughly $2,400 per month. Take a look at your deposit. Do you make $1,700? Do you make $1,750? You might think you are too rich for help, but according to the 2026 guidelines, you qualify for QI. That is nearly $21,300 a year in income, and you can still get your Medicare paid for. This tier is the best kept secret in the Social Security system because almost nobody advertises it. The state doesn't want to run out of grant money, so they don't buy TV ads telling you to apply. You have to know it exists to ask for it. Now I hear the objection in the comments already. But I have a small savings account. I have $15,000 set aside for my funeral. They will deny me. This is the biggest myth stopping seniors from applying. First, you need to understand what counts as an asset. Cash counts. Stocks and bonds count. Second homes count. But here is what does not count. Your primary house, the one you live in, does not count. One car does not count. Your household furniture does not count. And usually, a burial plot or prepaid burial contract up to $1,500 does not count. But here is the hack within the hack. Where you live matters. Many states have realized that the federal asset limit of $9,950 is ridiculously low. It punishes you for saving money. So they eliminated it. If you live in New York, Connecticut, California, Maine, Massachusetts, or Vermont, there is no asset limit for the Medicare Savings Program. Let me repeat that. You could have $100,000 in the bank in New York. You could have $50,000 in a CD in California. If your monthly income is under the limit, you qualify. They do not look at your savings. Other states, like Minnesota and Alabama, have raised the limits significantly, allowing you to keep tens of thousands of dollars. Do not auto-reject yourself. Do not assume, I have savings, so I can't apply. Let the state tell you no. Do not tell yourself no. I need to issue a warning here. Because you are searching for how to lower Medicare premiums, you are going to see ads for Medicare Advantage give-back plans. You might see a TV commercial saying, get $100 back in your check. You need to understand the difference between the MSP hack and the Advantage Giveback. The MSP is a government program. It pays the full $202.90. It allows you to keep original Medicare, meaning you can go to any doctor that accepts Medicare. It gives you extra help with drugs. It is based solely on your income. The Advantage Giveback is a private insurance product. It usually only pays part of the premium, maybe $50 or $100. It forces you into a network, usually an HMO or PPO, meaning you can only see their doctors. It often has higher co-pays for hospital stays to make up for the rebate. Do not confuse the two. If you qualify for the MSP because your income is under $1,780, take the MSP. It is a far better deal. It pays the full amount and keeps your medical freedom intact. Only look at give-back plans if you make too much money for the MSP but still need relief. Here is a math tip that can push you over the eligibility line. When you look at your income, the state allows for disregards. Basically, they ignore the first $20 of your income. So if the limit for the program is $1,781 and your Social Security check is $1,800, you might think you missed it by $19. Apply anyway. The state will subtract the $20 general income disregard. 1,800 minus 20 equals 1,780. Suddenly you qualify. Also, if you are still working part-time, they disregard the first $65 of your wages plus half of the remainder. This means you can earn significantly more money from a job and still keep your benefits. The paper income is not always your countable income. This is why my golden rule is always apply. Even if you think you are $50 over the limit, send in the application. Let the caseworkers do the math. You might be surprised by a deduction you didn't know existed. Okay, you are ready to get your $200 back. How do you do it? You cannot do this through the Social Security website. You must apply through your state Medicaid agency. But don't panic. You don't have to go stand in line at the welfare office. Here are the 3 easiest ways to apply. Method 1 is the SHIP counselors. Every state has a state health insurance assistance program. These are volunteers. They are unbiased. They do not sell insurance. Their entire job is to help you file these forms. Call 1-877-839-2675. Tell them, I want to apply for the Medicare Savings Program to pay my Part B premium. They will often do it with you over the phone. Method 2 is the direct application. Go to Google and search for Medicare Savings Program application followed by your state name. Look for a .gov website. In most states, the form is only 2 to 4 pages long. It asks for your income, your bank balance, and your signature. It is much shorter than a full Medicaid application. Method 3 is the Benefits Checkup tool. Go to the website benefitscheckup.org, which is run by the National Council on Aging. Enter your zip code. It will tell you instantly if you qualify for MSP, and also if you qualify for SNAP food stamps or LIHEAP energy assistance. Once you mail that form, give it about 30 to 45 days. If you are approved, you will get a letter from the state. Then, the state notifies Social Security. Warning, it takes time for the computer systems to talk to each other. You might get approved in February, but the deduction might still come out of your check in March and April. Do not worry. Once the system updates, Social Security will issue a refund for those missed months. You will usually see a larger than normal deposit 1 month, or a separate check in the mail. After that, your monthly deposits will settle at the new, higher amount. This retroactive payment can sometimes be significant. If the process drags on for 4 months, that is an $800 check coming your way. It is like a forced savings account that finally pays out. Friends, $202 is not a small amount of money. In 2026, with the cost of eggs, rent, and heating oil doing what they are doing, you deserve every penny you have earned. The Medicare Savings Program is not a loophole in the illegal sense. It is a lifeline. It was created by Congress specifically for people who worked hard all their lives but are getting squeezed by inflation. If you make under $1,780 a month as an individual, or $2,400 as a couple, please make that call today. It costs you nothing to ask. The worst they can say is no. But if they say yes, you just gave yourself a $2,400 tax-free raise for 2026. Do not let pride stand in the way. You paid taxes for decades to support these programs. Now it is time for the program to support you. I will be tracking the specific state rule changes in the Community tab. If your state eliminates the asset limit this year, I will let you know. Get your money back. Stay safe.